Yo, welcome to ConverStayShuns. I'm your host, Devin Boyd, aka Lyrical Instrumentalist, and I have...
Yep, this is your boy Jeff, aka Jeff.
Jeff, yeah.
I don't have any AKA.
Cool, man. Yeah, definitely. Like I said, it's been a minute since we chilled and hung out.
Yeah, man. I can't even remember. When did y'all move out to Austin?
Like 3 years ago?
Yeah, that was probably the last time we physically was together.
Yeah.
Because I think y'all came to Dallas, but we missed y'all.
Right. That sounds about right.
Yeah, and so, but no, yeah, I came out here, I was like, man, I definitely gotta hit up the homie and show some love, so.
Yes, sir, yes, sir. Man, I've been following your business, and what's the name of it again?
It's D&J Empowerment Group. So it's me and it's my brother Darrell Harper, man. We both got to a point in our lives where we just knew that the work path that we were doing just wasn't fulfilling. Mm-hmm. And so he really was doing a little something at one of his previous jobs, you know, where he was doing a lot of he would send out emails to the coworkers with some motivational thoughts and stuff.
Okay.
And then he started doing a lot of speaking engagements at a lot of the big corporate stuff for the company.
Oh, gotcha.
And you know, he was like, I really want to do my own thing. And I told him, I said, man, let's do this. You know, I was like, I felt what he was doing, and yeah, man, we started it out. I mean, two dudes. You know, we used to push carts at the local grocery store, and now you know we doing that, man. So it's been a fun journey so far, man. But yeah, you know, it's been dope.
Yeah, I've been like looking at your videos and like some of your giveaways and all that stuff. It's just like, and then like knowing like kind of where you started and where you came from, and just like it's really dope just to see that, and just to I edited a video for y'all.
Yes.
So
the first one.
Yeah.
It was a back to school bash. It wasn't. We didn't host that. It was that, but we got invited to it.
Oh,
and
okay.
so what they were doing, that was actually the first time we did our laptop giveaway.
Oh,
so we
nice.
do a laptop giveaway where it's upcoming seniors in high school and upcoming freshmen in college. And pretty much what they got to do is they have to write a 500-word essay, and they submit it, and then at the end, then we pick, you know, however many. And that was the video we got. It was in Hugo, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And you know, we went out there, spoke to the kids a little bit. You know, it was a fun time. Mm-hmm. I took some video, but at the time I was like, man, I don't know editing. I knew you did. I was like, yo, I really need to. Yeah. It was our first video. We were actually starting our YouTube channel, so that's our first YouTube video. Nice. First Facebook video, and I'm like, yo, please. Yes. But it came out super dope, man, and I still go back and watch it though, because it's kind of dope to kind of see that stuff when you look back, like,
seeing that progress.
Man, that's crazy. Yeah. So.
Yeah, like I almost got a little teary-eyed kind of watching it, just to see, you know what I mean? Like, to see like to kind of know what y'all and why they got the laptops, and like you guys handed it to them. I want to say one of the girls, she kind of cried out of happiness, if I'm not mistaken.
So, and we actually did a video on her, and so we do a series on YouTube called Victory Series, right? And the whole premise of it is taking the stories of people who had tough beginnings or like just a rough background, and just showing that how they came out of it in a positive light. Right. You know, because you know there's so much negativity out there, and you see so much crap on TV. We want to be the opposite. We want to kind of combat that. And anyway, so she was actually one of the winners. She was teary-eyed a little bit because she had like severe scoliosis. Dang. Yeah, so you know they had to do multiple surgeries to straighten out her back, you know, and you're thinking, this is at the age of, I might be wrong, but if y'all go watch the video, you can see it. I think she was like 14, 15.
Yeah, that's really young to have to go through that.
That's your spine, like, so if anything's messed up, like, that's it. And, you know, to hear her story and what she dealt with and gone through and stuff like that, and to see her now, like, she's you know, an incredible young lady, you know, she's in college, she's doing her thing, man, and being a positive influence to kids out there too, and even in her own community, you know. So it was a pretty dope story. But yeah, so you know, she really deserved it. You know, when we read her story, I was like, oh my God. And then when we decided to come up with the Victory Series, we reached out to her mom and like, hey, the story is amazing. Like, can we interview? And her mom was, you know, very accommodating. She's like, yeah, sure, you know, of course. Because well, her mom actually knew my partner.
Oh, okay.
Because I think they went to school together, or at least grew up in the same area. Right. So that really, you know, helped out. But yeah, it was dope, man.
Oh yeah, like I said, that was just really cool to see that. And I mean, I'm a big advocate for youth, and just seeing like them be able to get things that they might not have gotten otherwise, with like, you know, help from people like you. It's just like it's really good. And like you said, because so much like crap in the world and negativity, is like I don't even like get sad or like cry for like when you hear about like horrible things that happen. Yeah. Because it's just almost like, I feel like sometimes I'm becoming numb to it all, because it's just so frequent. Yeah. But then like when I see like happy things and like say kids getting things, or like families uniting and all that kind of stuff, I'm like, I get a little emotional just a little bit, but like it's just like, it just feels good that like, oh great, there is some goodness in the world, and like there's people, you know, so oh yeah, it's really cool.
But I mean, that's what it's about too. I mean, because like I said, one of the things is that we looked at it from a perspective of, okay, when we were growing up, what were we missing?
Right. Exactly.
What are the things we were like, man, if we had this or we had that, you know? And that's kind of the perspective we come from. So everything we do, we just trying to help give not an advantage, but just even the playing field, right? Because there's a lot of kids out there who might be just as talented or just as smart to do something, but one, they might be in an environment where it doesn't necessarily nourish that, right? Exactly. They might not feel confident about themselves, or even know that they have the ability or the opportunities to do that. So really, we try to help, you know, expose them to certain things, like, hey, look, these are the avenues, these are the people, this is the way you do it. And just to see their eyes open, I'm like, yo, it's like that glimmer of hope popping back in their head, like, I can, like, now I can. You know, because a lot of them it's not about them. They have the ability, but it's more so like, I want to help my mom not you know, struggle, or I want to help be an example to my brothers and sisters, whatever. So that's really all of it, you know, because I had certain things, and I knew I had a lot of friends. I was friends with a lot of people when I was younger who I'm like, yo, you're super talented, but you just see that there's a lot of things playing against them, and a lot of the things, I mean, I didn't know it at the time either. But it's like, you know, they're stuck in their bubble and think that, hey, this is it. This is as far as I go. This is it. And so, you know, we want to change that and, you know, kind of really uplift them and put them in the best position to succeed. So,
which like is the perfect thing for the name of you guys' company, because you definitely are empowering them, putting them in positions where they're able to, like you saying, like the kids saying like, I just want to help my mom, want to help my little brother, whomever. You just put them in a position to put that, and like kind of then that helps trigger down to be like, yeah, you know, so and so helped me, let me, and it just keeps going. That's how you like, which is really cool. And speaking, like I said, just you sound like how we grew up and stuff. So with this podcast, I'm, you know, talking about because you're biracial as well. Just off of that word, do you prefer mixed or biracial? What do you, or do you even care?
I don't. I used to. But I don't. It's like, I'm me. And so when I meet you, there should be a different set of criteria that me and you go off of. Like, like for instance, like, yes, you're black, but that's not why I'm friends with you. That's not what. Me and you have similar interests. Me and you have a love for creativity, and music, and videography and stuff. So, you know, I let people say, and what, you know, oh, what do you feel comfortable? What makes you comfortable? Because if I say something, I'm like biracial, then you go look at me like, well, damn, I shouldn't have said mixed. Like,
right now you're uncomfortable.
I'm like, what makes you comfortable? So it doesn't bother me at all either way.
I think about that, like, you know, in society, I'm just generally speaking, not necessarily specifically you, but you know, we put labels on different groups of people, but then it's like, did you ever ask that group of people if that's what they want to be classified as, or, you know, grouped as? So it's like, and then you have that, I always hate the term politically correct, because I'm like, well, where was this meeting? I wasn't there at the agreement. So being that said, I'll stick with biracial, because I guess that is the politically correct term.
We'll go with that.
Quotes and quotes, since people didn't see. What is your true ethnicity?
So my father is black and my mom is Korean. That's kind of been, but the funny thing because y'all can't see me, I look dead ass Hispanic, right?
Yeah.
Or depending, in the summertime, I get a little darker, might be Middle Eastern. I've gotten all of it, but yeah, that's who I am. Like black and Korean, that's what I am.
And you got the thick beard, so I can see the Middle Eastern.
Yeah, and well, if y'all could see this beard, I don't, you know, it's pretty dope. Nah, I'm joking.
Too bad you just couldn't learn all those languages and just keep switching it up every time.
I thought about that, man, but I don't have enough of the brain capacity to do that.
How was that kind of growing up, like having both say Korean mom and a black dad?
I mean, it was awesome. I mean, to be honest with you, like both of my parents were present. My dad was in the military, he was in the Army for 20 years. So in the beginning, you know, he was present, but obviously, you know, hey, when the government calls you to do your job.
Right, yeah.
But you know, my mom was a big cornerstone for me. She did everything. I'm not even gonna lie to you, I'm gonna be completely straight up.
Yeah.
I was a spoiled brat.
Yeah.
I was my mom, she did everything for me, and you know, my dad, you know, everything for me as well. You know, he had a child prior to me. But you know, she's my sister, same to me. You know, but you know, with me, you know, it was like what you need. What you know.
Yeah, exactly.
He was tough on me, you know, because obviously being a military man.
Right.
But still, though, it was good. You know, as far as that aspect. Now, as far as outside, it was a little tough. You know, because I was coddled so much. Right. And my mom did so much for me that when I went out into the real world, it was like, yo, I got punched in the mouth hard. Yeah. And understanding that not everybody has your best interest, not everybody really wants to be your friend, and some people just really have it out for you for whatever reason. So, like I said, as far as the in-house stuff, great. But as far as real world, it was pretty tough, you know.
Do you say, we said the real being biracial, do you think that affected how your challenges in the real world?
I guess so, because I think it was more so because when people hear me talk, it's like, yo, why he talk like that? Yeah. And it's like, well, that's how I talk, you know, but I didn't understand that. So I guess people took it I was trying to be black or trying too hard, I don't know, whatever. And so I guess it would agitate people, and they would come at me in a certain type of way. And when I was young, I was hella naive about it. I thought everything was, you know, roses and shit, you know, whatever. And so when people would come at me, I'm like, yo, I don't understand. And you know, I was hella sensitive too, so that didn't help. Yeah, you know what I mean? So I took everything to heart, like, yo, why are you doing this? You know, but I guess that's what I'm assuming that's what it was, you know. But what's funny is like when people really got to know me and find out who my parents are, and then my family, they're like, oh, that's just you. I'm like, yeah, like I don't have time to fake. Like, what you mean? Like, I'm not gonna sit up here like, oh, hey, let me try to live up to you. Like, no, like this is me. So I guess that's probably pretty much what it was.
So no one ever tried to push you to even like with, are you close with your mom's side of the family?
No, just because I left Korea when I was 11 months.
That's good. That was actually a great question. I should have asked. I never even thought about that. Yeah, you were born in Korea.
Yeah, I was born in Korea on a military base, and I left when I was 11 months because my dad obviously got restationed. Right. And to be honest, I hadn't seen my family up until was it last year? Like my mom and dad was actually able to fly my folks from Korea down. Nice. And like, you know, I got to see my grandma pretty much for the first time in my eyes. You know, so she went from seeing me as a baby to this grown man with gray. I got a wife and kids. You know? So it was, but it was emotional, you know, because I at one point really thought like that was never gonna happen. Like I thought, because my grandfather had already passed years ago. Yeah. And so my grandma's pretty up there, and I just was like, you know, I guess, you know, I pray to God, you know, that I like that opportunity would happen, and I'm thankful it did. But at one point I was like, I don't know, you know, my mom might get that call one day, and I'll never get to really meet her. And then, you know, same thing with my uncles, because my mom has 2 brothers.
Oh, okay.
And
were you able to meet them as well?
They all came down.
Oh, nice, nice.
And what really made that kind of bittersweet for me was that one of my uncles actually passed here recently.
Oh, okay.
So it was kind of like, you know, it sucks. I really wish I could have got to know him more, but I'm thankful for the chance and opportunity just to what is the word? Reunite.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you got to see your kids and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is that, you know, my uncle that passed, he really, you know, enjoyed my kids. And that's nice. What I loved about it.
Right.
You know, he genuinely had a love for my kids. And, you know, it sucked that he passed, but, you know, life happens that way. Like I said, I'm just glad I had that opportunity before he did, so.
That's nice. It's like when my grandmother passed, she got to meet Tia for the first time, and then it's like around that time is when, like, you know, she got sick or whatever. But it was like just cool that she got to at least meet her. Yeah. And like, you know, they got to really connect and like all that. And then she passed, but it was just like, but it was cool that you just got to meet her. It's like, it's almost like it was just that time, but it's like she held out long enough. Yeah. Just, you know what I mean? So exactly it's like really cool. But with that, I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, so that was what I was gonna say. So did you, being that you have both sides, did you ever feel forced to have to identify with one side or the other?
Yes, but it was more so of my own doing though.
Okay.
Like it wasn't anybody telling me like, why don't you, or how come? Yeah. It was just the fact of I wanted to feel accepted, right? And in the environment that I lived in the neighborhood I lived in, for my friend, predominantly black, my friends predominantly black, the school, everybody I hung out with, you know, I played on the football team, the basketball team is predominantly black. So that's who I hung with, that's who I identified with. And I just, you know, like I said, I was naive, I was sensitive, I didn't understand how people and things worked. I just wanted to be accepted in some form or fashion. And that was kind of my way of, like, that's what I gravitated towards, you know? And it was just, every day it was trying to, like, I guess for lack of a better term, just to be as black as I could. You know what I mean? Like, even though the way I speak, like I said, some people can hear me say, you know, and identify like he speaks that way, but I would kind of like try to overdo it to be like, oh, there we go. An extra bit of spice. And, you know, when it came down to how I dressed and who and where I hung out and the things I did, and looking back on it, it was really ridiculous. Like it was dumb. But you know, to be honest, it wasn't even till here recently. What, I'm 35, so probably in my late 20s, early 30s. It wasn't even to that time where I really where I felt comfortable in my own skin. To say like, who cares? Right, exactly. You know, I still tried to do it. I dialed it back a little bit, you know, because as you get older, you get caught up in other things that take your mind away from it. But you know, it wasn't even till then to where I was just like, you know, yo, just be you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like people gravitate towards you regardless of who you are or what you are. Like, if whatever, you know, it is about you, like your natural you. Those are the people you want to attract anyway. Exactly. Because you're going to attract them for the right reason. So, like I said, it was of my own doing. Just for some type of acceptance. Why and where to be honest, I never really dug deep enough to figure out why. You know, maybe one day I'll do that, but it was nothing external. It was more so me. That's interesting. That's a different perspective. Like I said, I had the last episode, it was kind of different where it was my cousin where he felt like, you know, the external forces trying to push him one way, but still similar to you. It's like, well, he didn't try to choose a side, but he still had these like forces trying to force him to be like one or the other or whatever. And of that, so like with jobs, have you ever been in a situation where you felt like a job was either given to you or not given to you based off of who you are or what they saw? I wouldn't doubt it. You know, just because how corporate America works.
Yeah.
And like, you know, like I said, even though I'm not at that point where I try to do what I was doing when I was younger,
Right.
I still understand that stuff, like that racism and that, you know, biases exist. But see, the funny thing is that like, because just off of one glance, you can't tell what I am.
Right.
But I fall in I fall in the 3 categories of races that most people are like, no. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, you black? No. Oh, you Hispanic? No. You Middle East? No. So I wouldn't doubt that. I wouldn't doubt it. But having said that though, I've also used it to my advantage too. Because when you start to understand that they have to have a quota.
Right, exactly.
You know, a certain amount of this, certain amount of that.
Right.
So, you know, depending, I might look and say, well, shoot, I know they don't have enough Asian people.
Yeah. Yep.
And then, but the funny thing is, they probably do the interview like, no, that's not, like, you check this, you don't look like that. I know, but I am. Like,
but I am.
That's facts. I'm not lying about that. I might be lying about the skill set I told you. But this is the truth. So, you know, but yeah, you know, I've done it both ways. I've used it to my advantage, but, you know, like I said, I wouldn't doubt that that's happened to me numerous times. You know,
and that was just like super obvious that you saw or noticed or whatever.
Well, yes, in some cases, even in like some of the stuff I do now, you know, it's just like, really, like, you didn't even give me a chance to explain what I'm trying to do. You just off cuff was like, and I knew, and you know, it used to bother me, you know, before, but at this point now, I'm like, it is what it is. People don't feel, you can't change how people's thoughts, you know, if people want to think and feel that way, that's how they're gonna think. So I just let it roll off my back and just, all right, I'm gonna go to the next one. You know, I'm gonna let my successes and my actions prove you wrong, you know, about what you felt or what you thought about me. So, yeah.
I can actually say, like, I know once upon a time, I, like, as a kid, I'm not even gonna say it was like on my parents, but it's just people around me, because obviously I grew up with a lot more black people, and then like, but then I knew some racist, or I'm saying racist, but some very prejudiced like white people and other kind of races. So like, then it just made me quote unquote focus more on my black side, or want to be stick more with black people or whatever, because I just felt like these other races are pushing me away from just doing anything that whatever. So it's like, okay, so growing up, it started to kind of develop like a different mentality than when seeing like mixed people or biracial people. Then it's just like, but then like having my cousin who's a mix of black and white, so it's like I can't ever have some kind of negative thing, because I love my cousin, like we grew up, you know what I mean, like so, but then you have again society and this and that, and like how people like, well, you need to stick with your race and this and that, so you just hear all these different things. It's like, well, then, you know, and people still say this, which is so just ridiculous, you know, in 20 and 30 there ain't gonna be no pure race anymore. And I'm like, so, you know, when it comes, I get like some people's perspective of cultures. Like I get like preserving a culture, like I totally get it, because some cultures, like, you know, it's like, I think everybody's ethnicity in their culture, it's like just, it's some real interesting and like nice stuff,
deep stuff,
in his history to, you know, to keep there. But 1,000 years from now, it's good to remember your history. But in my opinion, like, what are you living for is what it comes down to. So it's like, you can sit here and criticize the pure race or whatever, but it's like, when it comes down to it, like you mentioned earlier, I just want to make some music and videos and stuff. That's what I want to do. Like, I don't really care who you are or whatever. But again, growing up, I still had like this thing of would I ever date outside my race and all this kind of thing. You know, it's just like for a while, like I've dated a black and white, or a lady who was black and white, but I've only always dated black women. But as getting older, I'm like, would I have dated outside of my race? I was like, probably, if I found the right person.
Yeah.
And my biggest thing is like when people talk about like culture and losing culture, it's like it's up to the individuals if they want to connect with that culture or not.
Yeah.
But it has nothing to do with the fact that you are dating a different race. Because I actually have a coworker and his wife is white, but you talk to him, he talks about a lot of like black and empowering black people kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But he has a white wife. So then people look at that like, well, he's selling out. No, he has a white wife who is in tune with what he's doing.
Exactly.
And he's cool with what she's doing. And together they do what they do. Like,
yeah, it has to be a give and take.
Yeah.
You know, I feel some people are so hard set on their stance that it's like, but you gotta look at the human being.
Right.
Like, does this human being feel complete with this other human being, and what they do together, does it harm or help other people?
Right.
That's how I look at it. You know, I look at it from the standpoint, if what they do together, does it hurt people? Okay, yes, I have a problem.
Right.
It has nothing to do with your race.
Right, exactly.
You know, your race might fall into a category of what's going on, so you can take that stance. But it's more so, you know, that's just morals, right?
Right.
But if I look at both of them, I'm like, y'all truly happy? Y'all are taking care of yourselves and your family,
right, and
you try to do good by others,
right?
Man, your business is your business, man. I have no, I mean, because it's like with my kids, right? You know, before we had kids, I was always like, man, you know, like, what would be my approach with my kids? You know, because whoever, you know, obviously my wife is Hispanic, but at the time I'm like, yo, whoever I'm with, like, yo, my kid's gonna be a pretty good mixed bag. Like, like, you off the cuff got 2 off of me, so whoever else has 3, you know, so you know, you gotta look at my kids, they Korean and black and they're Hispanic. Yeah. For actually Guatemalan to be specific. And so, you know, I have really taken an emphasis on teaching them about all 3. You know what I mean? Like, hey, spend time, you know, mama, that's the grandma on my mother-in-law's side. Papa, that's on my side, that's my dad, you know, and then with my mom, like, go spend time with them. Like, understand, like, why my mom does what she does. Why does she do this? What is this? Where does it come from? Right, exactly. Well, that's because that's part of her culture. Right. Like, when you with me, like, when we go to Houston, Louisiana, and we're with my family, right, you know, it's like, because it's funny because when my son was, you know, a little older, he's seen my family before. Yeah, he was a baby. Right. But when he was older and he actually was able to interact, it's real different, you know. So because we're kind of like, I'm not gonna lie, like I'm hella boring when it comes to being an adult. Like, I'm like, yo, I'm home, I'm good. Right, right. But you know, when I meet my family, like, it's a party. Yeah. Because we all don't get to see each other. Right, right, exactly. So it was kind of, I know of it, you know, but it was an eye opener for my son. Like, yo, like, who are these people? Like, you know what I mean? Like, because, you know, he might see them in school, or, you know, a lot of my friends, he's seen it, but not in that capacity. Right, right. Like, okay, this is your cousin. Yeah. And he's like, for real? And what made it even funnier is, you know, then when my daughter was older, same thing. And so we came back, and like, literally every black person, that's my cousin, that's my cousin. Yeah. I'm like, sweetie, I'm glad you feel that way, but you can't just point at people. And what made it even funnier, we was at Macy's, and this one lady was like, it's all right, sweetheart, I'll be your cousin too. You know what I mean? So, but it's dope now because I'm, you know, I think they're slowly starting to understand, like, you know, and I try to let them know, like, you are unique. Exactly. This is who you are. Don't be anything else. Right. You are all 3 of these, and you should be able to identify with all 3. You know what I mean? It's, you know, so when we're with my mother-in-law, soak that in. Learn the language, the food, the why, you know, they do what they do. You know what I'm saying? From what reason? You know, because there's history behind it. Right. And you know, and I just want them to understand, like, you are all things, and I want you to be informed on all things. And you know, you don't have to identify with one. Right. So I think that's the dope. And it's funny because it brings perspective to me, because one of the other reasons why I stopped trying to just say I'm black was I'm doing a disservice to my mom. True. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. You know, my mom's never said anything about it. I don't think she ever cared, because she just looked at it like, you're my son. Yeah. But it was like Like, yo, you're not even claiming this side of you.
Right,
like, this
right.
is, whether you want to admit it or not, like, this is a part of you. You can't just deny that. And then, like I said, I finally started to understand and embrace my uniqueness. And now instead of just saying, oh, I'm black, is just, you know, I'm both. And it's surprising, you know, now that I'm out of that stage of trying so hard to identify with one, that I actually have more people that I've befriended and got to know just off of that one little conversation. Like, oh, you're this and that, I didn't know. And then you start to explain and like, oh, that's awesome. And then boom, you just build from there.
Right.
So it was, you know, it was pretty dope. So
because I believe, especially in this time, like there's more people who don't care than people who are against it. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
But people look at like society, and you have like, I'm not gonna give it. I'm not good with like numbers, so to speak. But you know, I'll just say like 7% of the people in the world are the ones who actually have an issue with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a small percentage.
It is, but they're just so big on media, in the media and social media and all these things, and it just seems like, yeah, there might be 10,000 people who are spewing this hate and all this kind of stuff, and you're like, oh, it's 10,000 people. It's like, how many people are in the world? Like, and so it's like, it's not, and like people, I've mentioned this before on some other podcasts, every so often you hear about a race war. I'm like, if you believe that there's gonna be a race war gonna start, you should like kill yourself now. Because like, it's not, like, just go ahead and give up hope with that, because that's not gonna happen. Because right now you have more, like I said, biracial people. So it's like, who love both sides of their family. So, and then the family embraces, you know, their in-laws and their family from the other.
Exactly.
So it's like, they're not fighting against each other. So you count those people out, and then you have people who are just like, have really good friends with somebody who's not the same race as them. Well, they're not gonna fight their friends. So you count all those people. Like, so it's like,
it's grouping, right? Because it's like, you know, not all black guys or black people are thugs, thieves. Not all white people are racist and KK. It's, you know, I tell people, like, you need to judge people off of that person.
Exactly.
Like, you might have been done dirty by this person who might have been of this race or whatever, but you might meet somebody else who genuinely has your interest at heart. And I think it's on the person. If you have that seed of hate in you, and you, it's like me when I was trying to identify with the culture or with the race, you just automatically just cling to it. Just any little bit of it, boom. So if you're like secretly deep down, you're like, you know, oh, I hate, you know, Hispanic, Asians, whatever. So any little thing that pops out, like, oh, poop, see, boom, and you cling to it, and then you just make something bigger. You make something out of nothing. You know what I mean? I can't, it's like with the whole cop thing. I'm not blind to what's happening. It is happening, but I cannot group every single police officer with a handful of people do. Because if you take that uniform off of them, it's the same thing. They're just people who have that seed of hate in them, who just looked at an opportunity and cling to it. So it is, I don't know,
It's funny you say that, because I brought that up to somebody, like, I feel like, so if there was a racist doctor, now all doctors, you know what I mean? Or like teacher, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can do the same thing with any kind of group. Because if you do it, say, well, all police I hate police. Well, shoot, I hate doctors, I hate teachers, I hate, you know what I mean?
The grocery bag, like, I hate them all.
Cart pusher, like, I got a whole list of people I just hate all of a sudden. I hate myself.
Hey, you know what? That's facts though, because I hear some people say stuff, and I'm like, but what you just said is just as racist as what the other person would say. You know? And like, for me, like, it's like, and really my kids help me bring this perspective to mind. I want to educate myself. I want to educate my kids, because coming from an educated perspective will help come to a resolution more so than bang bang. You know what I mean? Because now it's just always going to be an eye for an eye. It's always going to be, you took one out, I'm gonna take one out. But then you sit up there, you educate, right? I hate that I had to have this conversation with my kids.
Yeah.
But I had it to say like, hey, look, because of the color of your skin, some people are not gonna like you just because they don't want to.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do about that, but what you can do is you can carry yourself in a way to make sure that whatever situation happens, you don't let it escalate further than when it needs to be. Right. Because don't get me wrong, you know me. I've changed a lot, but I used to be probably one of the most short-tempered, hot-headed people. Like, you look at me wrong, your tone tweaks in just the wrong way. Like, yo, I'm like, yo, what's good? Like, we got a problem? You know what I mean? And so I always used to approach it, and that's wrong. And what's crazy, you know, my son is my mini me, so he's the same. He's the same way. It's just boom, but like 0 to 100, temper is just out the roof, and I'm having to like kind of curb that now. I'm like, because like you, as angry and as valid as you might be, like you have to understand the situation. Like I said, not all cops are like this, but if I encounter a police officer, yes sir, what do you need from me? All right. Yes sir, you need me? Okay, no problem. Even if he starts to be rough with me, yes sir, like, because me, like, what are me saying, like, what is me getting angry do? It agitates them more, or it might not agitate them more if their agenda is to do this to me on purpose because they want to hurt me. Now they're gonna be like, yeah, keep going. It gives me more of a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know, and so, and not to go on a tangent about that, but it scares me with my kids because obviously kids are not even off limits anymore. So it's just, I've had that conversation. I continue to have that conversation. And even with my company now, just from my perspective, one of the things that I try to empower is because that's an area that I understand. So if I see and this is my air quotes, mixed or biracial kid, you know, I want to let them know, like, hey, look, I understand. Here's some methods and ways of dealing with that, but the number one way is you have to accept you. Because if you don't accept you, you're gonna do what I did. You want to reach somewhere else to get that same validation. You want affirmation. Like, yes, you are, but it don't matter. Like, you get it from you. And that's what I try to you know, that's from my perspective that I try to help, because, you know, people might think like, oh, you know, you don't have a problem. Like, it's a problem. You might not think, but you know, depending on where you're from or what you're dealing with, like just think of the fact of having that feeling you have to choose. Like, just to give perspective. Somebody said, choose between your mom and your dad. It's like, you know, like, okay, you know, choose between your brother and your sister. Like, I can't do that, you know? And that's a battle that a lot of kids go through, and, you know, unfortunately, and obviously it's not just this, but, you know, suicide rates with kids because they're going through situations of peer pressure, and, you know, being biracial is like, think about it. Either you do get accepted, or you look at it from the standpoint of saying like, man, I don't get accepted from neither side. Now you feel a feeling of rejection. But it all stems from just because you don't accept yourself. Like, real talk, man, like, who cares if this person that you don't ever do anything with accepts you? What do they do in your life that matters to you so much that you need to be accepted? You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's your mom and dad, I get that. Okay, that's a fight you're gonna have to have. But like, the dude across the street, you know, like, he probably don't even know who you are, have never seen you.
And then even if the fact that they weren't trying to accept you and, you know, outcasting you this whole time, then once you do get acceptance from them, you gotta think about it. Wait, why do I want to be friends with you anyway? If you were already like this, like, why would I want to be friends with you? Because you have a negative perspective on who I am or whatever. Like, I don't need you in my life. I need people who genuinely want to accept me for just being me. And kind of that's the thing.
It goes like, so this is my thing, like, okay, and then what? So now you're accepted. Okay, what? Now what? What was your plan after that? And you're just like, I don't know.
I never even thought about that. Now
that applies to a lot of things. Okay, and then what? Like, I don't know. Okay then, like.
I got
Coming at it from the wrong
got the
perspective.
acceptance bag. It's like you can't cash that out anywhere.
Exactly, man. But it's crazy, man. Kids, you know, or just people in general. You know, some adults carry it. So, you know, like I said, I'm 36. It wasn't until my late 20s, early 30s,
Right.
that I got comfortable just in my skin of just being me. You know, so it's like, you know, you wish that wasn't an issue.
Right.
But it is what it is. So.
Yeah. And I like the fact that you said, like, if you see other, like some quote unquote mixed or biracial kids, that you try to, you know, educate them as well. Because there's not a lot of people out there that are, and there's a lot of kids still growing up, like, and looking at the size, and then you mentioned, like, the suicide rate in kids, like, that's been increasing. Because I remember, like, when we were kids, like, I've never personally at least heard of another kid committing suicide. It was always been like an adult thing. But even then, it was like, it was hella taboo, kind of, you know what I mean? Like, not saying it like, now it's becoming more common. And then, like, thinking about, like, stuff like that, like, if you're already just being bullied at school, whatever, like, looking at present day kids, and then being mixed race, so now you're being bullied because that's just in school society. You got bullies who are just always going to have to pick on somebody smaller, whatever the case is. But then you have that side where now you feel out of place from where you are, and then you have, you know, just other things. So it's like, if you can control, like you're saying, and be at one with who you are, people flock to you because of that. Like, have you ever just, like, either just saw somebody, like, that you don't even know, but, like, just the way that they just carry themselves, like, you're weird, but, like, you're really cool. I don't know why, but, like, I wouldn't do that, but just because you have so much confidence in what you're doing, like, I like you. Like, we need to just hang out just for a little bit, like, but maybe we shouldn't hang out, but, you know what I mean? But it's just like, but it's just like that confidence that you know, exude when you're just walking, like, I like this person, like, no, I'm not gonna do that, but, like, it's just.
But you do it with such pizzazz.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
It's like, I like that. And that's facts. But I also think, off of what you were saying with the suicide stuff, with kids nowadays, I think the reach is different now. So before it was like, if I'm there, yes, you can bully me. Right. I had a getaway. I could go home. I could be in my hood. I could be wherever, my comfort area.
Right.
But, you know, with the internet, social media, and, you know, technology, you can't escape it as easy. Right. And it's one of those things that is spread, like, when something negative happens, it spreads fast. Yeah. And you got so many group thinkers, you know, like, they just go with what's going on. Right. That it's just real easy for, you know, for people to be like, oh, you know, it's such and such is, you know, he does this, or this is he, you know, whatever. Back in the days, it was like, oh, Jeff, you know, you got cooties, you know. Yeah, right. And it just ended at that. But, you know, now, like I said, it's deeper, and people can get a lot of information off of you and really lay your laundry out there that it ain't meant for other people. And, you know, because people didn't really have that kind of access to us back in the day. They didn't know our deepest thoughts and stuff like that. And it's unfortunate, like, that people use that as a play, but you know, but I think that's what it is. But, like, once again, the way you can't combat the internet, you can't put lockdowns on social media, so you got to get to the root of it. And once again, you know, that's the person themselves, and saying, like, hey, who cares? You know what I mean? Like, and like you said, if I meet somebody and you come at me with hella confidence, a part of me is gonna be like, yo, like, I like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's, you know, like I said, I try to tell people, man, confidence is probably like 95% of life. Even if you don't know what you're doing. If you do it with confidence, people are like, oh man, you're an expert.
And that's, like, the biggest thing. When I see people, like, with just confidence in whatever they're doing, it just makes it that much better. And that's why I like what you're saying. Like, I feel like any other, except biracial, mixed race, or whatever, if they just exude. That's the
We'll
word.
go with that.
Yeah,
They have confidence.
Right. They exude, you know, like who they are. Because my biggest thing with like some people that I have met that are mixed race, that they, not so much that they cater one side, but they have a dislike for a side.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
So
I get what you're saying.
I get like, cause kind of what you say, you kind of identified more with your black side, but more so just because of the environment and the people and the school and all that. So it's like, you know, cool. And obviously if you're not around as many Koreans, it's gonna be harder to identify with them. But you never just were like, you know what, screw Koreans, or like I'm not, you never just straight up just owned it.
Yeah.
So like that's what I'm like, those are the kind of issues I have with people who don't like their other side. Even I made reference to like some of my cousins being mixed with black and white. I met some biracial people who hate their white side. It's like, yeah, I know like over history, yes, just being real, white people have done like a lot of crazy stuff over history, but again, like don't hate your white, because it's not every single white person in history did this and this and this and this. So like, even if they were like, this guy, even if like in the whole history of white people, if there was only two good white people, those are the two good white people that you hang on to.
Exactly.
So I feel like if there's one person who makes a change in whatever the thing is, you can't say everybody.
Exactly.
Even if it's only 1%, like if somehow you were able to count every single one somehow and there's only one, then they just change that demographic.
Exactly.
So like then it shows that it is possible.
Yeah.
And sometimes I like, this is gonna sound weird and people are gonna probably hate me for saying I don't really care. Because at this point, like you're saying, as I get older, like I really just stopped caring about like certain things in life that don't matter like that. Like people get so wrapped up in like race and like certain cultures and all this kind of stuff. It's like, what do I want to wake up and do? I don't wake up thinking about, I hope there's not a black and a Korean person sleeping together and conceiving children. You know what I mean? I don't like, that makes me sound weird if that's my focus when I'm waking up in the morning.
Yeah.
So I hear people talk about, you know, like I said, losing cultures and stuff, but I actually just because there's so many people who are so hateful like that and just like are too almost like militant and like who are just too against it. It just makes me want that to happen more, just to piss you off, because since you're too focused on it.
You're too extreme.
Yeah, I hope you run into more and more biracial and mixed people just to make you mad. But like, I actually like seeing it where like the two people are genuinely in love with each other, just purely off of just because they whatever, and like I think it's a beautiful thing. You know, for just two people
to be in love in general,
and like, so then I like seeing like in our apartments here, like there's like a lot of, I was gonna say Indian, but I don't want to judge. I'll say Middle Eastern people here, but then there's a lot of, these apartments are actually pretty diverse for the most part, but like near where we're at, I see like the Middle Eastern kids, and I actually hate saying Middle Eastern.
I know but it's like the most like best way to say it.
But like the Middle Eastern kids are playing with like these white kids, and then like some other Asian kids are all like playing together, and it's just the coolest shit. It's like
like that's and see, that's the part that I try to have people have perspective. I'm like, look at the kids. Like they don't care. They're looking at it like, hey, are you interested in what I'm interested in? How can we make it interesting for everybody to play? Because I'm out here to have fun.
Right, I'm out here to have fun. And like I said, I see them playing and making noise. I'm like,
they don't care.
Cool.
They're like, what's your, like, ain't no kid, what's your background? Like,
Oh,
like, I don't know, bro. I thought we were playing soccer. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the part, man, I don't know. It's hard to understand, but it's just, I'm looking at it like, you know, like it's taught. Because like I said, if you look at a kid, like when my son's playing with his friends, and he's like, you know, oh, I played with such and such, and we did this and that, and you know, they want me to come over and play. I'm like, oh, great, that's great. You know what I mean? That's awesome, because in their mind, because they're genuinely wanting to know, hey, I want to know you.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if somebody ever comes at my kid, not that they have, but if ever somebody comes at my kid, like, I'm not supposed to hang out with you because of how your color.
Right.
See, somebody taught you that.
Yeah, because that's definitely a learned behavior. Like,
you know what I mean? And so it's just, hopefully, you know, I know it probably will never be 100% gone.
Yeah.
But, you know, once again, it's just educating.
It is.
Because I do understand the whole preservation of a culture.
Yeah.
I get that. And like I said, I try to do my best to not only educate myself, but, you know, my kids on, like, you know, hey, this is how the culture is. This is, like I said, this is why, you know, we have this type of music and this type of, like, why our fashion is this way, why we interact, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because it's funny, like, my son's, you know, at that mimic stage.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
You know, so it's like when I'm with my friends, you know, so I hate to put it this way, but I'm gonna be transparent. You know, there's my work me, and then there's me,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, of course.
There's professional me, there's me, right?
Yeah.
So professional me is, you know, if I'm trying to conduct business, hey, how you doing? My name is Jeff, you know, this and that, XYZ, blase, blase, you know, but that's just because I'm trying, at that moment, you know, I'm just really focused on trying to get this information to you in the best way possible, right?
Yeah,
in the clearest way possible. But when I'm with my homies, like, I'm just having conversation. Like right now, like we having conversation.
Right.
So I'm gonna use certain terms and slang that I know that you understand.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
But in a business setting, that person might not understand it, right? So you're gonna throw that person off. It ain't got nothing to do with, you know, I'm trying to hide, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's just, I'm trying to find a middle ground to where we both understand each other.
To me, it's no different from just speaking a different language.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, you know, so my son is starting to see that, but he's seeing more of the Mimi when I'm hanging out, you know, and so he says a lot of things, you know, hey, come over here, homie. Like, I'm like, oh, like, where'd that come from? You know, and he got a lot of twang and slang that he's incorporated, and I'm like, okay, you know, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I'm like, you know, don't just mimic me, like, be you, because there's certain things you say and do that's what makes you Zane. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, it's cool. I love it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you want to be like your dad, but, you know, but don't just be you. Like, if you're, you know, if you don't want to speak that way, you don't have to. I'm not gonna force you.
Right,
like, it's whatever you pick up. Like my daughter's like real valley talk. I don't know where she gets it from. I'm like, God, dad, like that, and I'm like, okay, like, all right, baby, like, you're my little princess or whatever. Yeah. You know, but, you know, I like, once again, it's accept you. Like, I will never force my son to be a certain way. Right. And, you know, it bothers me that in all races, I've seen it in all cases where it's like, you need to, because this is our culture. And I'm like, yo, I get it, but like, if you educate your kid on the culture, they'll continue to pass that on, and regardless of who they're with. They'll have another culture that they'll have to incorporate in their lives, but it won't necessarily be lost. You know what I mean? And because I've dealt with people like of the whole militant side. Right. You know, it's like, oh, but this is cool. But yeah, see, the way the man got it, I'm like, yo, dude, back up. Right. I was talking about Kool-Aid. Like, you took it to a whole other level. Like, chill out, bro. Like, you know what I mean? And I just want, hopefully what I can do is just open eyes, open hearts, open minds, you know, and kind of let people into my world, or just the world of, you know, being mixed, and say, like, it's not as straightforward, and pardon the pun, it's not black and white. Like, it's not just that simple. Like, it doesn't work that way. You're dealing with human emotions and family, and, you know, you can't just discard, well, I can't. Some people might be able to. I just can't discard family. Like, I have not engaged with my Korean family, just more so because of the distance.
Yeah.
But even with the Korean community, like, you know what I mean, I haven't, like, it's not like I'm going out there seeking it.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm definitely not gonna deny it. Like, if it's there,
yeah,
you know, I try to, like, my wife, which is so dope, like, my mom cooks a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, that, like, that's a staple for me.
Yeah.
You know, but obviously my wife comes
like
from
cultural Korean.
Yeah, like straight up Korean food. Like, there's things that she makes. It's like, you know, the kimchi and the seaweed and rice and the kimbap and the jjajang, all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
But my wife comes from Hispanic background. But what was dope about that, it was easy for me to deal with, that's a bad word. it was easy for me to kind of really get into that because I had a lot of Hispanic friends too. Yeah. So it wasn't like a big change for me.
Right.
But that's what she knows. That's what she cooks. But, you know, my wife is so dope. She's actually picked up and learned a lot of the recipes of my mom. Nice. So, you know, it's like, yo, she's like, hey, I made you this Korean dish. I'm like, yo. Yeah. I'm like, that's why I can't lose weight, but it's cool. Like, it's good, you know, and it's awesome because, once again, my kids are in that stage of watching what we do. So now my daughter's like, you know, hey, I want to learn how to make that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And my son, like, what's so dope is their palate is just so across the board. Yeah. Because the stuff we eat in Korea, like Korean food, it's an acquired taste. Yeah. You eating fish and squid and you know what I'm saying, octopus. Yeah. You eating all that kind of stuff, you know, that a lot of people are like, yo, I'm not eating that. Right. But it's dope. And then, like, you know, I'm, you know, and not to sound real typical, but I'm just saying, like, you know, ribs, brisket, you know what I'm saying, like stuff like that. And then, you know, my wife's making food. you know, Hispanic food, so their palate is across the board. It's not new to them, and it's just, like I said, it's broadening their minds. Like,
see, and that keeps them still culturally diverse because they are
exactly
culturally diverse. But still, like, again, like saying, you're not making them have to cater to a particular side. You're showing them, like, here's everything who
it's
you
all
are.
Wonderful. Yeah.
And exactly, it's all wonderful.
It's all wonderful and beautiful. So, like I said, don't be mad at your kids because they choose to date outside because you feel like the culture belongs. Be mad at yourself because you haven't sat down and educated them so they can continue. That's like somebody getting mad saying, like, well, you haven't taught my grandbabies my recipe for this. And it's like, well, you've never taught me that recipe. Right. And it's like, oh. Yeah. Duh. Right. Yeah, you can't have something to be generational if you don't teach the next generation. Exactly. You just keeping it to yourself thinking they supposed to absorb it through osmosis. You know, like, it don't work that way because you got so caught up in you. You know what I mean? So.
But even people have to also think of certain things that certain cultures have done originally. It's not relevant and can't be done now the same way. Yeah. So facts, over time, I mean, it's kind of unfortunate, but not at the same time. But over time, like, you can't do certain things that you used to do. Like, people are like, well, you know, people can always talk about back in the day we did this, right? And that was pretty cool when you did back in the day. We can't do that now. Like, you know, or it's just not practical. Yeah, you know, I used to kind of go back and forth with my granddad about like writing letters and stuff like that. That's cool. Oh yeah. But like, real talk, by the time you get the letter, if I'm trying to provide some important information to you, it's too late. Like, I really should have called you or texted you and stuff. Granted, like, yeah, it's good just to, you know, learn how to write and all that kind of stuff. But like, certain things that people used to do, it's just not practical now. And
I'm not writing a letter, bro.
I'm not writing a letter.
Yeah, no. If you expecting a letter from me, you're gonna be waiting for a long time.
Because first of all, it's gonna take me a long time to write the letter.
Because like, I would be like, yo, how do you spell this word? ain't no autocorrect. Yeah.
Then I'm like, dang, then I gotta drive all the way to the post office and buy a stamp.
Yeah. Like, these are true thoughts you have to you gotta sit there like, and then I gotta write out the address. What side does it go on? Right. On the envelope.
Hopefully it's legible enough.
Yeah. Does it? Yeah. Hopefully I didn't miswrite a number and it goes to some random person. That's facts. Right there, man.
So I'm like, people gotta understand, like, cultures are going to change. And really, culture comes down to just history when you think about it. And yeah, I get remembering historical things, but so you don't repeat history, as they say. But the fact of the matter is, history constantly keeps getting repeated, and people keep still doing the same stuff, even though people are preserving the culture. So, is losing the culture the issue, or remembering the culture the issue?
That's pretty deep.
I just thought that. Actually, that's pretty deep.
That's deep though.
Yeah.
That's deep though. You know, and it really goes like kind of. I had this conversation with my wife because it's like, to me, I feel like exposure is the thing. Like, just okay. So like talking about the black community, right? We. Like I said, I don't know the exact numbers because I don't do numbers like that, but I know I've heard of reports of like we're the #1 consumers, like financially.
Right.
Like, we spend the most money.
Right.
But yet we're not nowhere near. But what, we make up 7% of the population.
Right.
But yet we're not really in that tier of financial wealth like that.
Right.
Why is that?
Right.
Well, because we have a culture of, you know, the rap life, big chains, flashy cars, and just wasting money. Like, you know, cats' chains and watches cost more than houses and cars.
Right.
For what though?
Yeah.
You know, and like the athletes, they get all this money and then they go broke. Why? Because they haven't been exposed to the side of financial literacy. They haven't been exposed to, you know what I mean? Once again, like I said, your environment doesn't dictate your situation, but at the same time, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And so until somebody tells this child who's like, hey, after high school, that's it, I'm gonna get a job, because that's what my mom did, that's what my parents did. But then you say, wait, like, hold on, wait, you can go to college? No, my parents can't afford that. Yeah, they can't afford that.
Right.
But do you know of these financial aids out here and grants that you can apply for?
Exactly.
Do you know about these other companies that if you work, that when you work for them, you know, that you can get, they'll reimburse your tuition.
Right.
I believe some of the schools, like if you work for the school, right, in any capacity, right, your kids go to school for free.
That's true. I just had this conversation with somebody a few months ago. A friend of mine, or when I was a kid, one of my mom's friends, and I think our neighbor at the time, she worked for SMU.
Yeah.
So essentially, I think her daughter went there for at least a little bit, but yeah, because she actually, you know, was like staff there. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
And so, but see, some people are like, oh, I didn't know. Exposure. You know what I mean? You got to expose these kids, you know, or just really the community to say, hey, like if we really, like, there's this guy on Instagram I follow, I believe it's Jay Morrison. He's super dope because he does these things called corner classes. And like literally it's a corner on the street and tons of people, and he tells them, he tried to teach them financial literacy and real estate. Yes, there's more into it than just what he's teaching you, but the fact that he's opening your mind to this, and that you can do this and possibly be successful to it, other than just playing ball, selling dope, or you know, whatever, the typical, like there's other avenues, like that's exposure. You know what I'm saying?
Just the fact that he even brought it up, even if he don't give you all the details, now he just opened your mind to something new for you to now go and do research and explore.
Exactly.
So,
and so that's what I want to do, man. It's just to let them know, like, you know what I mean? Like, do you understand the power that you have just as an individual? Forget the race, whatever. Like you as an individual, like your mind. You know what I mean? That, like, we have a thing called straight up mindset. You know what I mean? And it's the whole fact of, like, if you can control your mind in the sense of how you think, like, it can literally, you can do a complete 180 in your life, man. Like there's one thing that I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get some more information on it, educate myself more. But you know how they say that they have these tests on certain drugs to see how they work. There's the control group, which is the placebo, which is pretty much a sugar pill, but they don't tell you that. They don't tell the tester that. So you think it's the actual pill versus the actual product that they're giving, right? Well, okay, yeah, obviously the people who take the real stuff, you see a hike or spike or improvement or whatever, right? But in the placebo group, the control group, right? It's not as high of a spike, but there's a spike.
Right.
Because they thought.
Yep.
And it's like, just think of that perspective. Like, they're in their mind, they said, this is the medicine and it's gonna work. Or this is the whatever, this is gonna enhance my whatever. Just the mind.
Right.
Yes, it's not gonna be the 100, 200% spike that the other stuff did.
Yeah.
But you just, like, I want people to focus on that. Like, just that much of a change can be done with your mind. Now imagine you follow that with action.
Right.
And everything else you do. And you take that same approach. Like, man, yo, you can take it to wherever you want to go, and that's what we try to teach people. Like, man, like, don't allow in the environment or your situation to make you feel like you can't do something. Like, there's so many more stories of people. I mean, just look. I mean, from Denzel to Jay-Z to, you know, just anybody who just came from a bottom background.
Right.
You know, these are considered top tier people in their field.
Right.
Because they said, like, I'm going to get there regardless of, you know what I mean, what you think, say about me, you know what I mean, how you try to play me or whatever. But just in their mind, they were like, nothing's gonna stop me. And I gotta tell people, like, that's the most powerful gift in that you can have, is just to think in a positive way. Like I try to tell people, and I know we got a little off topic, but still, I am not the smart, like, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. I'm not.
Well, you're half Asian, you're supposed to be smart.
Hey, that's facts though. Yeah. I've heard that, I felt that, you know what I mean? But you would think so, but like, yo, like, I'm not, but just the fact, the sheer determination that I wanted to have, like, so look, when I was growing up, money it was tight. Like, don't get me wrong, I had both my parents, and like I said, I was spoiled. I was spoiled in the sense that I got everything that I needed when I needed it. Right.
Yeah.
And then I didn't get everything I wanted, but if my parents could, they did.
Yeah.
Right. But at the same time, I understand how to be tight. I understand not getting new clothes, getting them worn out. Yeah. You know, eating cereal with water. Yeah. I know about the whole mayonnaise sandwich. I've done it. Yeah. I get it. And I told myself, like, yo, look, when I become an adult, I will not live this way. Not to say that there's anything wrong with it. I don't want that.
Right. No. Yeah.
And I did everything. Trust me, there's so many people that I've come across in my life that are 100 times smarter than me. But I have a degree and they don't. Not that the degree means anything, but the fact of the sheer determination of, like, I will succeed. You know what I'm saying? Like, real talk, my wife is the brains of the operation of our family. Like, I don't mess with that. Like, as a man, I have no ego with that.
Right.
My wife step in, I'm like, yo, you got it, baby, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Whatever we need to do for the family to succeed. Yeah. If this is your strong suit, take over, because I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. You know what I mean? So but it's just one of those things that, like, I had that determination of, like, I will not be living paycheck to paycheck. Right. My children will not, you know, have to sit up here and be like, you know, what we gonna eat? Yeah. Like, I can't, like, I won't do that. And I want people to understand, like, look, I'm an example. Like, I'm no better than you. Yes, I have a degree. Yes, I have a nice house, but I'm not better than you. I just wanted it. Yeah. And the problem is you don't want, other people want it for you better than you want. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so that's the message. And once again, you know, to try to tie it back in, is that with a lot of kids or people in general, just people, I'll just say people, you know, who are of mixed races, you know, if you just accept you, changing your thought, your mind, who cares about what other people think? Right, exactly. Because at the end of the day, they're not thinking about you. Yeah. Because I used to have a real bad problem. I could see a random person in the store, and then in my mind, I'm like, yo, my outfit not right. They looking at me funny. Like my hair, my beard's not right. That's a mental issue with myself. And after a while, I started like, yo, this person's probably worried about, like, yo, I need to get this cake for my grandbaby's birth, like, whatever. Yeah. That's what they're worried about. You just happen to be in their line of sight. Yeah, they're just staring off and you're there. So, you know, mindset in everything you do. And, like, I promise you, if you apply it there, you can apply it everywhere else. Right. And you're just gonna constantly get to that next level, man. And Like I said, it's exposure. I've been exposed to things where I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. And then I try to do it, and I've seen things change, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And I just want to do the same for others. Is the knowledge I get, I want to pass it on to the next person. And so, that's kind of my whole, like not life's work, but that's just kind of my thought process and what I want to do. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, it's a good way to kind of end it. Yeah, and I say that as well. People need to travel more. Step outside of your element. Step outside of your bubble. Yeah, your comfort zone. That's the best way to really educate yourself. And you just gotta go beyond what you are used to, because there's a lot of stuff people, like you're saying, I'm not the smartest person either. Yeah. But like when you travel and see different things, it puts you at a higher intelligence level, because no, I can't maybe crunch quantum physics or whatever, but I do know something about a whole bunch of this other stuff that you couldn't be over here, or I can be over here. Yes. I can be with this group of people. I can be in this particular environment. I'm more universal than you are. So yeah, you know these things, but I can be all over the place. And yeah. That's what it's all about, man. Before we leave, man, I know we already talked about, like, say, your company. Like, I told you just at the beginning, drop some plugs, man. How can we hear more about everything? Yeah, so, man, if y'all want to know more about D&J Empowerment Group, just go to our website. It's www.djempowerment.com. There you'll see kind of all the events we have going on right now. We have a youth event that we're taking about 35 kids to a Rangers game. Ooh. Yeah. We did a youth event last year where we took them to this place called Trinity Forest Adventure Park. I don't know. It's like they do zip line, but they do a lot of team building. Yeah. And so the cool thing about the team building, not to make it a long story, but it taught the kids to different ways of communicating, which is another thing, that a lot of younger kids have a struggle with. Yeah. So once again, exposing them to those kind of practices and things. And and then you can see we have our YouTube videos up there. You can see all the previous events, pictures that we've done. And then also we have a nonprofit called Straight Up Nation. So if you ever want to be a part of the movement and help donate and help, kids, get a meal, get a bike, or be a part of an event, that's also on our website too. So you can definitely donate there. We're on all social media platforms. Just look up DJ Empowerment and you'll find us. You got any questions, man, just shoot us an email at info@djempowerment.com, and our phone number is on there too, so you can give us a call or text. But yeah, man, just trying to spread some positivity. Yes, sir. And really try to help change the world. It's a huge thing. That's what we say, but that's what we like to do. Oh, yeah. We like to think big, so we out there to change the world. One step at a time, but every step can be very global. And I'll drop all this information in the link in the bio of this podcast as well. That way, people can check it out. That's what's up. Thanks, Jeff, man. Again, this is Devin with ConverStayShuns, and thank y'all for tuning in. Peace.